The Border Management Authority says inadequate infrastructure, corruption and a surge in the number of illegal entries have crippled efforts to safeguard South Africa's ports of entry. The entity has reiterated its appeal for our government to find long-lasting solutions. This morning, BMA officials will be reporting back on their festive season operations with the Home Affairs Department. And Scara Mafokoane is there, live from Pretoria. Scara, good morning. Again, we've seen the strain of a demand that the BMA is up against, together with the Department of Home Affairs. Today, hopefully, the numbers will be telling us a story of progress, but it still doesn't eliminate the fact that we've got a lot more work to do to secure the country's borders.
Absolutely, Iman, and good morning to you and good morning to our viewers. 15 days ago, Iman, the return leg of those operations, Iman, were concluded on the 15th of January, Iman. So the numbers have been tallied. We will hear whether it was a success or not. That briefing, Iman, starting in a short while, just around at 9 o'clock, that briefing will start. But interestingly, Iman, you mentioned that in terms of the border operations, I mean, we were there December, we were at the Libombo border post. We were there a few weeks ago in Beitbridge. We saw the decay. We saw the dilapidated infrastructure. It's not surprising that we hear from the BMA as to the inadequacy of what happens there at the borders, Iman. But allow me, Iman, to break down the 2024-2025 festive operations numbers. We saw at least over 5 million movements, the processing of 5 million movements, and that applies to both land ports and airports. That was a slight increase from the previous year, which was 2023, a slight increase of about 51,000 travelers. So those are people who were processed legally. The BMA's problem, however, specifically at the land ports, is the dilapidated state of the border fences. And that is where we see a lot of illegal movement, which has posed a real threat to the South African sovereignty, because you see illicit products being crossing over places like the Limpopo River via makeshift boats. We witnessed those things. So that is where the biggest problem is. In a short while, Iman will pose those questions, but we are going to hear, we have been reliably told by the BMA that they had a meeting with the Zimbabwean counterparts last week, Thursday. So we expect to hear what they report back in terms of interventions on particularly the land borders, particularly when it comes to border fencing, which is dilapidated. But let's take a listen, Iman, to a conversation I had with the chief border guard at the Beitbridge a few weeks ago when that return leg was in progress.
Morning, when I arrived here in the office, when I went to the law enforcement offices, when I was checking the number of undocumented, I found that the number, it has gone high. It was 70 undocumented which were apprehended for the past 24 hours. If we can be given more powers of arresting, because normally here with the Zimbabweans, we just take them back to Zimbabwe. Then when they arrive in Zimbabwe, it seems as if they are not being dealt with. They have been coming back. Immediately when you arrived here, sometimes you'll be deporting one person, maybe 4 to 5 times in a day. If we can be given powers that, okay, immediately when we find such person, and then we can take the person and then in the court of law, then the person can be sentenced for coming into South Africa illegally.
That's just one of the interventions which were requested by the BMA, saying that they at least would like the powers to, to process this illegal immigrants once they come to South Africa. But the big question, Iman, is do they have the capacity in order to prosecute, and where will these people be held? You're talking, Iman, about over 100 people intercepted just at one land port in Beitbridge, which was the biggest problem. Just lastly, Iman, in December, with the exiting leg, we saw at least 500,000 at one border, at Libombo, which where the biggest concentration was. But with the return leg, it was the Beitbridge, which saw a number of people returning, with over 23,000 individuals being processed on a daily basis within those 15 days, which are stipulated on the return leg. But we will crunch those numbers. They are tallying the stats, and we'll hear some of those interventions which the land ports, together with the airports, require to make South African borders more safer.
Scara Mafokoane, thank you. That is going to be an important briefing, and we'll carry it as and when we can live for you on the channel.